My name's John Engel, and I'm facilitating open space here at the Health Assembly, the Mennonite Health Assembly. I was invited to facilitate open space because the leadership wanted to make sure that the ideas, the topics, the questions, the issues that participants really felt strongly about could come forth and be discussed. You know, when we organize these conferences, a lot of times you try to predict what people are going to be interested in, and you organize for speakers to come, experts to come. At the same time, often at conferences, the participants claim that the most meaningful moments were the unstructured moments, when people can meet different people that they wanted to connect with, when they can talk about the things that are really on their mind. So open space, in a sense, is like a structured coffee break. And as we see here, people came forth with topics that are really interesting, and they're now engaged in small group discussions all around on the first floor and the second floor, addressing these topics. They're taking notes, and then the notes will become part of the book of proceedings and available to all the participants afterwards to get a sense about what was discussed and who was discussing it. So it's a great way to encourage ongoing networking among the people.
Hello, my name is Terry Rose from Messiah Village. I'm one of 4 pastors at Messiah Village Retirement Community. And today in our group, what we discussed was one thing that an individual or their organization has added to the community as far as some particular event or community. And at the end, each individual person then shared. A few people passed, but most people shared one unique thing that is taking place in their community. And after we went all the way around our circle, we continued to ask each other questions about something that someone felt that was quite interesting. And then at the close of that, we offered an opportunity if there was a second thing that they wanted to share about their community. And then lastly, what we gleaned from listening to each other, and what we really gleaned was that how unique it is to hear in this alliance of communities of the many wonderful ideas, and how important that each individual person makes, and how we can come up with many ways to improve in community, how we can enhance our communities that we live in.
I'm Linford Good, a vice president at Landis Homes, a retirement community near Lidditz. Just came out of an open session where we were looking at possibilities for Anabaptist or Mennonite organizations to form larger groups or larger organizations. And it's interesting, went into it expecting the group to focus on existing organizations and how they might come into larger groups in the area of ownership, of actually merging or acquiring and owning larger organizations. Turns out that it was a group of medical professionals who are interested in how to create Mennonite or Anabaptist organizations of similar professions at a connection level, at a bonding level, at a bridging level, and ownership wasn't even part of the picture. But what was great is that some of the things that are currently happening in retirement communities as far as beginning to connect and bond and do things together was helpful to this association group on how they begin to form connections and bonds and begin to do things together. And so it was helpful to them, and it was very stimulating to me to think about that, even though the group wasn't focusing at all on what I expected going into the group. So I think that's a benefit to open spaces. You can go in and provide good ideas, even though it's not in the topic or area that you thought you might be heading into, that there's great benefit in cross-fertilization among disciplines, and that things apply to one organization as well as another.
My name is Patricia Wilkerson, and I'm from Friendship Community. We talked about how to listen. It was really a great discussion, just talking about ways of listening, new ways of letting employees and individuals know that we've heard what they said and that what they communicated was important. We talked about follow-up, getting back to the person, communicating what we heard them to say, and allowing them to continually have access to us.
This is Tim Stair. I'm with Mennonite Health Services Alliance out of Goshen, Indiana. Our group was discussing how do we involve young adults in our organization, especially in questions of values and faith. It was a very energetic discussion, a lot of questions about differences in communication patterns, questions about whether there's identification with values, but not all the time with faith, especially if there are still a lot of faith questions. And then of how do we, on one hand, have our values as an organization, but on the other hand, genuinely involve all of our employees across the age spectrum in genuine open conversation around those values. The general feeling from those younger adults that were part of our group, and we did fortunately have some, was don't be afraid of your values. Often your values, and especially things related to service, are what are attracting them to the organization. Just engage us in conversation around it, and also make sure that you're genuinely working at ways that those values, that there's congruency in the workplace between the values you're espousing and what's actually being practiced.
My name's Tim Weens. I'm the Executive Director of Jubilee Association of Maryland, where we serve adults with developmental disabilities. And the group that I identified and led was called New Ways of Creating Community Within the Organization or Agency that you work in. And I was delighted with how many people were interested in that. We had maybe 25 people. And I sort of started by talking about my own experiences and what was happening, and it was kind of slow getting going, but quickly picked up steam, and you know, it was really an engaging conversation, and it sort of ebbed and flowed as, you know, different people took it different ways, and sometimes people would pick up on that and sometimes they wouldn't, but was very pleased with the process, came up with a lot of ideas, and hope those will be helpful for everybody and can be shared.
I'm Shalyn Lentz. I'm a student at Bluffton University, social work major, and the group that I went to was how to build community within your organization or agency, and I think it went really well. Everybody was very active in the group and brought up a lot of questions, and everybody responded to each other's questions with what their agency is doing and stuff like that. I went to it because I wanted to get a feel of like CEOs and like, I don't know, in an agency, because I'm going to be in an agency in the summer, and just maybe how I can build community in the agency that I'm going to be in the summer. So I think the group went really well, so yeah.
This is David Husingfeld from MDC Goldenrod. We had a session on the organizations that are small within MHS Alliance collectively banding together to be considered as one large employer, and thereby in that consideration being able to enter the MEP plan. This is something that I was very grateful for because it provided a context for us to have conversation. So having the open session allowed that setting for us to do that. Good beginning. Hope that it continues. We've got more work to do, but I found it very helpful and very rewarding to have some open time for me to do some work that was not necessarily integral to what the assembly was about. but it provided that context. So I'm happy.